action on the street today, huh, Willie?
Yep. Oh, check out the German V8.
Ooh, 64 Dream Car.
At Shelter Insurance, we insure all your favorite rides and have since 1946.
Sweet pickup. Hiya, Muggsy.
Yo.
From Hot Wheels to hybrids, we've got you covered.
Hey, mailman.
Love those shoes.
Hey, where you going?
Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Agent Mark Manning about Shelter's auto insurance discounts.
Always my great pleasure to come to Batesville, Arkansas and visit with my good friend, Mr. Ted Hall from White River Area Agency on Aging. Good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you, David. You
Social
bet.
distancing as
Yes.
what we're supposed to do.
That's
Mask
right.
on.
Absolutely.
Being safe.
And being safe. And you know, right now, our judge and our mayor, and they understand and recognize that Independence County right now is a hot spot for the virus, and so we just want to emphasize this today that we're being safe, and it's a matter of just this is the way we find ourselves in right now, this situation. So we're just trying to make the best of it. And so, you know, David, we've been in business here at the Area Agency on Aging for over 40 years.
Yes, sir.
And I have people that have worked here in the office for over 30 years, and they said this is the darndest thing. They've done a lot of, they've come across a lot of things, but as all of us know, this is an unusual situation. But David, we were talking before we went on air here, is that we continue to serve people even all through this pandemic. I mean, we continue to do that. We're still doing that. Dave, we have probably over 600 aides that are out in homes today throughout our 10-county area. So we're making sure that they have our protocol before they go into a home, that they've washed their hands, they've got gloves, and we have to document all that. And of course, the state is requiring us to make sure that those protocols are followed. Now, what has happened, David, because of the virus, some of the folks that we normally can serve just like this, because of the virus, it has slowed things down. It's not from us. So some people ask, well, why are my loved ones getting service faster? But it's a slowdown from the state, and it's just simply this is where we find ourselves in. So we're trying and pushing to make sure that we still continue, folks. Sometimes the process gets slowed down, so we just want to make sure people know that we're working every day and we're doing the right things, but there is a way in which we have to operate just because we work, you know, the state sort of represents who we have to follow the rules by, and so that's what we're doing.
Well, Mr. Ted, not only this business, but I mean, the world's actually changed. I mean, we're changed in every facet of business that we do.
Absolutely.
And we are not immune to not, you know,
Sure.
We're going to change too. We have to change. We have to change our protocols. We have to change going in there. So, and that's what we've done. But the most important thing is that we've changed and we're still serving people.
Absolutely, right. And that's what we're talking about, our in-home services. You know, we also have Eagle Mountain Assisted Living. And David, we've actually had people move into our Eagle Mountain Assisted Living as we've gone through this. Now, once they go in there, they have to kind of be in their area for 14 days.
Right.
But that's just what we're talking about. We just have to shift the things that we're doing. But they can always call us. I always use the 870-612-3000 because it's easy to remember.
Right.
That's here at our corporate office. But there's the 1-800-382-3205, and that they can also get to this office, and we can get any information out or take them to any office that we have in our 10-county area if they have questions about anything about senior care. And you know, the fall's coming up, and of course we're not sure. That's a lot of times when people start changing their drug policy, and we have different seminars and those guys. We're not sure if we're going to be able to do that this year.
Right.
And so that's going to be more important that they understand these numbers. They give us a call, and we'll still help them. But we'll let them know more about, we used to have seminars at each one of our county offices, sometimes at our hospitals, but hadn't been cleared to be able to do that yet. So this show is just about, hey, we're aware of the virus. We're trying to work within the means of that, and that we're all just going to have to be flexible in how we move forward. And so we know this is touching Independence County, Jackson County, and several other counties, but you know, we're here to help seniors. If they have questions, then give us a call.
That's Mr. Ted Hall. That's great information that we have today here at White River Area Agency on Aging, and we're there to help serve. If you need us, call the number that Mr. Ted mentioned, and you can see them on the screen. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Well, we're joined on Skype with Tara Salinas from Merchants and Planners Bank, and we welcome you back to the program. It's always nice to get to visit with you, young lady. How's Tara Salinas?
Oh, doing well, thank you. It's nice to see you too. Nice to visit again, even though we're not doing it personally. It's good to catch up and see you on my screen.
Thanks so very much. We've got a lot to get to today. We're going to talk about a lot of safety issues as far as banking goes. We've got a lot of information, and Tara, tell us what we need to learn today from Merchants and Planners Bank.
Well, okay. So then, yes, the word of the day, the word of the month, the past few months, perhaps the year now, is safety. I think it's everyone's greatest concern. And we here at Merchants and Planners Bank have been working hard to make sure that, you know, we are safe, that our customers are safe, and that we're keeping your money safe. Those are our main objectives. And so, yeah, I just want to talk about, you know, some ways to do your banking safely and securely. A lot of folks are staying home and reducing their contact. And we completely understand that. We've enhanced a lot of our mobile and online services in order to accommodate this. So now pretty much you can do whatever you need to do with your banking, either online on your computer or on your mobile device. We have what we call our online banking. If you aren't aware of it or don't have it, we are happy to set you up on it, and it's super easy to use, but we can walk you through every step. It'll allow you to just go online and look at your account balance, see everything that's gone through. If you're writing checks, you can use our image section and see your checks that have gone through. If you want to transfer funds, you can do that through online banking. You know, if you have bills, and you want to go ahead and have those bills automatically paid, we have a bill pay section that will allow you to set up all your bills, so you don't have to worry about it. It's pretty automatic. We have electronic payment services, so if you need to send money to your church, if you're not attending personally and you want to send money to your church or to friends in need, we have an electronic payment free system that will allow you to do that. All you need is their email address or their phone number. And so, like I said, there's a lot of options out there for you. If you don't want to come to the bank, if you want to stay home, but you still want to get your business done, go online, look at our website, www.mnp.bank, or Google us, and you'll see your options there. As always, we are here. You know, we're in the offices every day. If you're staying at home, call us. Just, you know, pick up the phone and say, here's what I need to do. What's my best option? And we're happy to work with you and get you through that on the phone as well.
I think, my generation of people were a little hesitant about how to use the technology, and we're kind of, I'm a check writer, and well, I remember I was one of the earlier ones to resist that because I said, I just like to write my checks and be done with it. I don't want to scan a card, and I mean, and it's gone way beyond even scanning a card anymore. I mean, new technology there, and some of the things that we want to talk about.
Yeah, we have a new option for our mobile savvy payment people out there, the ones that like to use Google Pay, Samsung Pay, Apple Pay, a lot of your mobile watches like Garmin and Fitbit have these options as well. We're now compatible with all of that. So, when you go into a store and you're ready to pay for your purchases, instead of digging in your purse or in your pocket and trying to find your debit card, you can enroll your MMP debit card into these services and just pay with your phone. So,
Awesome.
it's really cool. So yeah, I will just, when I'm getting ready to pay, I just hold my phone over the terminal. You don't touch it or anything. You just hold it up and bloop, it processes it. It shows up on your online banking. You can have your receipt text to you. It's great. So I didn't have to touch anything. I didn't have to share my card with anyone. And it's just automatic. So, and that's a pretty easy setup. If you have any of those options, you can just go online now and put your card in, and that way it comes out of your bank account. So you're not racking up a credit card, forgetting to pay it or anything like that. It's coming out of your bank account.
I have seen that on occasion or two where people do put their phone up somewhere, and I was going, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder how that works.
Yeah.
Good explanation. It's a pretty good feature that we have at Merchants and Planners Bank.
Yeah, pretty cool. So yeah, that's available. Again, if it's something that you want to do online or with your phone, call us and let us know, and we probably have the answer for it. We probably have the option. So.
Well, the safest thing that we want to talk about, we're talking about safety today. We want to talk about your money, our money. Our money is safe at Merchants and Planners Bank. Always has been, always will be. Explain that, please.
Well, I'm sure you are aware, and many people have heard of the FDIC. Anytime we, do an advertisement or you hear anything on the radio from us, we always say, member FDIC. Well, what does that mean? It means that the Federal Depository Insurance Corporation insures our depositors' money. So were something to happen, and, hopefully never have to worry about that. But if anything were to happen, if you have your money with an FDIC institution, as Merchants and Planners Bank is, it's covered. You're covered. Your money is insured and you're taken care of. So, if you, a lot of articles and newspaper publications have stated that there's been an influx of people taking their money out of the banks or, hoarding it at home, putting it in their mattress and everything. And that's just, it's not the best thing to do. The safest
No, it's not.
Your money is in, it's in a depository institution that is FDIC insured. And so, and since 1933, the fast fact, 1933 was when the FDIC was established under Roosevelt, and no depositor has ever lost a penny of their funds since the implementation of the FDIC. If they put their money with an FDIC insured place, they haven't lost the funds. So it's the best place for you to put your money.
That's a pretty good track record, I would say.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, safety is so important to us, and we want to make sure that we cover everything. Have we gotten everything that we need to cover? Something else we need to cover as far as safety goes for Merchants and Planners Bank?
Well, as far as, just keeping your money safe, and keeping, your health and your family safe, that's obviously very important to you and to us. Your information is something you should guard closely as well. And we have seen the pandemic has created an influx of fraud attempts. So there's a lot of scammers out there, unfortunately, that are taking advantage of the pandemic. They are preying on people's fear, or their needs. And so you have to be very careful when you are online, whether you're looking at a social media site or checking your email. Be skeptical of everything.
Yes.
We always try to tell people if someone's asking for your personal information, it's likely a fraud. It's likely a scam. You know, we will never call you and ask you for your social security number or your bank account number. We're not going to call you and ask that. We're not going to text you. We're not going to email you and ask you that. It's not going to happen. Most reputable organizations like the Social Security Administration, they're not going to do that. A lot of fraudsters will, you know, they're imposter calling or texting or emailing, and they're, you know, saying, hey, you know, we have your relief fund, or, you know, we need your bank account number so that we can put these funds into your account.
And nobody's giving you any money, any extra money, so don't give out your information, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I guess we have seen we've seen some money come through, you know, with our stipends and such, but no one's going to call you or email you or text you and ask you for your personal information in order to make that happen. So anytime you see that, that's a red flag, and your best bet is to don't click, don't email back, don't give anything out, hang up. Just be very wary. Like I said, we want to make sure that you know, we're going to do our best to keep your money safe. We want you to help us out and be aware and not get taken advantage of.
And it's back to school time, and so we want to talk about safety there also.
Yeah, we'll just, you know, we are so in awe of our teachers and our school administrators and the entire staff there, because, you know, we know they have a real tough school year ahead of them. Things are very different for everyone, and it's gonna be different and challenging. And so we just wanted to let everyone in the community know that, you know, support your schools, support your students. Let's all just rally together and stand behind them and do whatever we can do to help make this a very safe and successful school year for everyone.
Great information from Tara Salinas of Merchants of Planters Bank, my hometown bank in Newport, Arkansas, for many, many years, as long as I can remember. My money's been safe down there for a long, long time because I've been down there for a long, long time. And I appreciate you so much for taking time to get with us and talk about safety at Merchants of Planters Banks. Thanks, Tara.
Thanks, David. Take care.
All righty. Well, it's another edition of the NEDC show, the Newport Economic Development Commission show, with Executive Director John Chadwell via the Skype meme. And I'm telling you what, you and I we are getting so tech savvy in how we get this set up and get this done. And this just may be a deal of the future for me. I may just do them like this all the time. How's it going, John Chadwell?
It's going well. Between Skype and Zoom, I feel like I'm on the computer video more than I'm anywhere in real life.
You are. You are. What if you're going to get anywhere in real life at this time, this day at time, you need to be on Skype and Zoom. But I appreciate you joining us and taking time. It's hectic at NEDC this morning. It's been hectic down there, and you guys have been busy.
We have been. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We're one of the few with our downtown group that is still having events. We're doing it in a COVID-safe way. So you wear masks to the park until you're seated with your family group. You're a social distance from everybody else, and the band is 15 or more feet away from everybody. But it's nice to give people the opportunity to do something in a time when there's so much that's been canceled. And Julie's going to be sending out some information as we film this, probably in the next day or two, about Depot Days. And right. So Depot Days is going to happen on September 26th. And we just feel like if we can find a safe way to do things, it's really important to give folks something to do, because it gets old just staying at home not doing anything.
And we want to remind everybody, you know, when we talk about that, if you're not on the list, to get on the list, to get the emails, to get the messages, we ask you to call us and call the chamber or call NEDC and get your name on the list, and you get all these emails. And if you're not on Facebook, you need to get on Facebook, because they're on Facebook. The information is out there of when we're having things going on in downtown Newport.
It is. We have a text list now, so you can sign up for the text list. Call Crystal; she'll take your number, put you in, and then you can be texted the day of an event. Because I've had a lot of people say, "Oh man, I wanted to come to that. I just forgot. I just forgot it was happening." Well, you don't have to forget anymore, because the day of the event, you'll get a text in your tells you all about the event. You can decide whether you want to come or not. You can go to
There
our
you go.
Monster Nights Newport, and it has a list of all the events that are happening. So,
Well, there's good stuff going on down there, and we've got several things we want to try to cover this morning. And one of those things that we want to talk about, John, is a new website that, in the technology world, you have to update these things, not on a daily basis, but it certainly seems like on a yearly to every couple of years basis to keep up with the technology. Talk about the new website.
yeah, we have to keep up with the technology. You need it to look fresh and new, and it's your window to the world. I mean, just think how many of us Google or search, do an internet search for some place before we ever go. Most of us probably don't travel to a town that we hadn't at least looked up something online for that community. And so we're going to work. We're commissioning a group to do a new website. They'll start on that here in the near future, and we voted on it Tuesday, I think. So probably by the first of the year, we'll have a new website up and running. It'll have a lot of the same things. We'll have a community calendar. We'll have upcoming events. We'll have job listings, chamber business directories, and all of those kind of things. Our website's one where we try to integrate the city, the county, the chamber, the NEDC, and tourism. So many communities, you got to go to 3 or 4 or 5 different pages, and they don't really connect except maybe a little link at the bottom. We make ours a little bit easier, where there's tabs at the top. So you get on one, you can get on just about all of them, and you can sign up for it. You can see whatever kind of information that you need. And we're really proud of how our websites work, and the fact that we all do it together. I know in so many communities, each organization is responsible for their own. And so one of them may be really up to date, and one of them may be really out of date. So we try to do it. The NEDC covers the cost for the city, the county, chamber, tourism, and economic development, so that we can have a great first impression on the web to people who are looking for us.
What we have now is pretty impressive when you go there, whether you're searching for the chamber or, like you say, any of those entities. But I think it's pretty impressive when you go there and you go through and you find the information that we have about us on that website, and it's fixing to get better. So looking forward to that. First Impressions Tour. Tell us about this pilot program we have coming up.
So the Arkansas State Chamber and the University of Central Arkansas's Economic Development program have created a program for communities that they really wanted to test out. And so they looked for a couple of pilot communities, and they chose us in Stuttgart. And the way the program works is we have two communities that are of similar size, similar background, similar demographics, and each one of them picks 3 people or 4 people, and they go and anonymously visit the other community. So our team was Julie Allen, Lee Scoggins, Naisha Greer, and myself. We drove down to Stuttgart and spent about 4 hours. We drove around. We ate in one of their restaurants, went in a couple of their stores, looked at their community, and just made notes about what our first impression was. Things that were really good, things that they could work on, things they might need to fix. Likewise, Stuttgart sent 3 people up here. They drove around. They looked at the town. They went in some stores, talked to the people, ate lunch while they were here. And so then all of our thoughts and ideas and all of that were consolidated. We sent them in to University of Central Arkansas, and they prepared a report for us. Here are some of the first impressions. Here's some things that we thought were really, really good. Here's some things that we thought you might work on. And that's important because we get used to living here, and so we don't notice some of the things in our community. And we don't realize how hard it is sometimes to find stuff in Newport. If you drive into Newport cold and you want to find the college, well, it's not necessarily obvious. Or you want to find where the high school is, it may not be obvious. Or you want to find where City Hall is. And so what we can do out of this report is try to look at maybe creating some signage, that on the major points in the town, at one points to historic downtown, commercial district, ball fields, things of that nature. I know a lot of people use Google Maps today, but even with Google Maps, when you get into a town, it can be off by a little bit. And so having ourselves branded and directions. So we were excited. We got the final report yesterday. We were excited about it. It gives us something besides just us saying, I think maybe we need to work on this. It's a verification of some of the things we know we need to do in town to make the community better.
Well, you do a report like that, and there's no doubt that you find out that the information, when you go to somebody else's community and they kind of judge you and you kind of judge them, and you kind of get great ideas of what you might be missing, that you really are right at the end of your nose, but you just don't see them, but good information there. Third thing we were going to talk about, tech. What was the third thing we were going to talk about today?
Well, we're still working on this technology park project for downtown, and
yes.
the internet internet technology or information technology apprenticeship program that's going to start downtown. We're looking at starting at the end of September. We'll have some slots available. So if you are a business and you have an existing employee, or you want to hire somebody new for IT in your business, this is going to be an IT generalist kind of program. So they'll learn basic networking skills, basic routing skills, basic web maintenance, things like that. So if you're a business that just needs one or two people like that, you can have them go through this program, and it won't cost you anything, and it doesn't cost them anything. Now, they have to be your employee. So even if you're hiring somebody new, you'll hire them, and then they'll go through this apprenticeship system. They'll have about 6 months in classes, and then 6 months on the job training during their first year of apprenticeship. But it's a great way to get somebody qualified for information technology, rather than trying to reach outside the community and move somebody in, or reach outside the state even and try to move somebody in who may not stay long. They may move here and decide to move on. But if it's somebody who lives here and who's grown up here and who's still here, then they likely will stay, and they'll likely be a more long-term employee. Every time you have an employee turnover and you have to hire somebody else, then it costs you money. It costs you time, costs you money, costs you training. So this is a goal to get these jobs that are hard to fill in our communities, to get the training done here, to let people in our communities get the education that helps them earn a better wage and lowers the cost for our businesses.
If somebody's interested in getting into that program, what will they have to do to get in?
Well, if they'll call up here and call the Economic Development Office,
okay.
523-1009. If they call up here, then we will hook them up with the Arkansas Center for Data Sciences, who's doing the recruitment, and get everything set up so that they can be part of the class.
And it's awesome. It's awesome stuff that's going on in downtown Newport and around Newport and Jackson County. We always say going on in downtown Newport, but we mean throughout our community and throughout our county. And you guys continue to be the leaders within the state of Arkansas and leading our community. And I can't imagine having a better leadership team than what we have in place and what we've had in place at NEDC. And I thank you, my friend.
Well, we got a good leadership team around the community, and we thank you for all your help.
All right, John Chadwell, the Executive Director of Newport Economic Development Commission. Good stuff going on in downtown Newport. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
This is my good friend, Dr. Gavin McDowell at Customized Vision Care in the Village Mall in Newport, Arkansas. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you.
We had a great visit. It was a great show. Thanks for joining us.
It was awesome. And then we stopped abruptly. And
I've talked about that for years. I don't know why we don't record our pre-show that we talk about instead of our show that we really talk about, because the pre-show is very interesting. Might not be able to air it on public television, but
this is true. You say that often.
I do say it very often, don't I? And one of my pet peeves is when people say often.
Oh, it's like my pet peeve is when people say pet peeve.
Yes, sir. Those are the things that we talked about prior to get on the air. You don't like pet peeve. What's a pet peeve? It's a little kind of a rabbit looking.
It's a fuzzy thing.
Yeah,
something
pet
fuzzy.
peeve. That's my pet peeve.
A pet peeve. Pet peeve.
I don't believe that.
I don't like it.
I
It's
don't like
weird.
it.
It's a pet peeve.
Often. I often hear
You
that.
often hear that, don't you?
I often hear that. I just like the word often, and I don't know why I like often instead of often. What do you use? Do you use often?
Often, yeah.
Often? Do you really? Oh, well, I like often too then. You're the client.
But then again, even my staff make fun of me how I say some words. Like, the number that follows 9 is
I would say 10, but you say 10.
10.
10. You say 10, I say 10.
10.
Yeah, I'm T-I-N, 10.
Yeah. Which is a middle, but that's fine.
That's correct.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You're just saying it wrong.
Anyway, what were we talking about? I don't know. Hey, congratulations, I guess would be in order. When you're an ambassador, and you're ambassador for a good cause, and you certainly have been awarded, named, selected. You are an
I
ambassador.
was nominated.
Nominated would be a better word than
Right.
I'm going to say they picked you. How about that?
Yes, that's the same.
Is that a pet peeve?
No, it's just the same as nominated, but that's fine.
Picked you, nominated. What'd you get picked for?
To
And this is a great cause. It's on a serious note. On a serious note.
representing Real Men Wear Pink this year for the American Cancer Society in awareness and bringing advocacy and awareness and helping fundraise for breast cancer.
So what do you have to do? What do you do as being a...
Wear a lot of pink, which
Okay.
I chose wisely today for this pre-scheduled visit.
Yeah, and you told me we were going to do that, and I got dressed too.
Then you need a better eye doctor because that ain't pink.
I've got a good eye doctor.
You seeing somebody else?
No.
Okay, all right, just making sure.
Yes, I come to Customized Vision Care in Newport, Arkansas, and I don't know why I would go anywhere else because you can't get this entertainment anywhere else in any other optometrist office in the world. He's Dr. Gavin McNown. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
So I think that is a great honor, and you raise money. How do you raise money? How's it work?
Just beg, really, just a lot of begging.
Yeah, you're asking folks to give,
Yep.
and it's a big cause. It
is, and I mean, I'll put it this way: it's kind of close to my heart. My mom had breast cancer and recovered from it. Had a very good friend of mine who had it much worse off and actually went through all the stages, and she's recovered, but she's the inspiration for my haircut because she lost all her hair, and that's when I started shaving mine. But a lot of family members and friends affected by it negatively. So yeah.
I think I don't know of anybody who's probably that hasn't been affected by that. You know, Linda, our family, I lost a sister-in-law. She lost her oldest sister and several years ago, and after a long battle, and I think it affects every family in the United States of America, and it's a great cause to give back to breast cancer awareness, and you know, you're out advocating for you know, for a cure, and I commend you for that. I think that's an awesome deal, and I think they have nominated, picked, selected a very good person to do that.
Thank you.
You're a good man.
I know.
So tell me about eye care.
That came across as very braggadocious. I did not mean it to be like.
Sure you didn't. Sure you didn't. But on a side note, on a lesser note,
sidebar.
we do eye care stuff here.
Occasionally we do. Yes.
Occasionally, and kind of like school is going on now. We have people in them, and maybe you've noticed something with your kids that maybe not quite well, not quite right at school.
I mean, it's staggering how many parents realize their children have vision problems by how the beginning of their year starts out. Children have to be moved to the front of the classes that didn't have to prior. Nearsightedness is usually the culprit in that, but I'll be seeing patients for years, and all of a sudden around 7 or 8, it just kicks in, and like, I can't see that anymore.
Right.
And children don't really know how to tell mom and dad, you know what, I don't see clearly. You know, that's not clear anymore, because, you know, sometimes kids don't know what clear is.
Right.
So they get into the school system, and then, you know, just through observation, through auditing and things like that, that's how they find out that they have vision problems. And that was actually one of the big advocacy campaigns that our association had one time was no child should fail to be able to see.
Right.
And so that's why we actually implemented in the state, it's mandated where kids have vision screenings and stuff like that. Just knowing, you have to know that the screenings that the schools do are not full of eye exams. They just do not replace it. They serve a very important role in the healthcare and the development of children and setting them up for success, but it's not a replacement. So even though, let's say little Johnny comes home from school, he had his vision screening that day at school and everything checked out fine, if he has not had a yearly eye exam, he still needs to go to it. Sure. He still has to have that. But.
Well, and that's something that we encourage. We encourage, school-age kids, and we've used the analogy about the dentist. You go and get your teeth checked twice a year. You get them cleaned. You kind of get them examined. Why would you not do your eyes that way? We talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
And it stands to reason that it's a pretty good idea because things can happen to your eye over the course of a year.
Absolutely.
Where you can help.
Not only can have health changes in the eye, you can have vision changes in a year. I mean, a child's eye especially is changing and developing so rapidly, especially when they get closer to puberty. It's just like a light switch goes off in many of them. And, if you're not paying attention, if you're not in a school setting, you may not notice that those changes are coming to fruition, so to speak.
We've mentioned before and kind of remind us about what age that you'll see, what age folks you see and treat from here to there.
Well, it's recommended after the age of 6 months, everybody has a yearly eye exam. So we start seeing children after 6 months of age. Now, if your child is, a newborn and they're having a weird eye infection or something like that, or you have some concerns, obviously you don't have to wait until they are 6 months old. But that's for a general check, basically kicking tires and checking the oil after the age of 6 months every year after that.
I want to talk a little bit about contacts. I mean, that's something that I've experienced, the go through the different types. And tell us what we do if somebody's wearing glasses and they would like to try some contacts, what we'll do at Customized Vision Care.
Well, the great thing about trying contacts is that with a valid prescription, I mean, if you have gotten your exam already through the year, or it's not been quite a year, and you want to try them in the middle of your yearly vision cycle or whatever,
sure.
Or if it's time for your exam and you want to try contacts, the great thing about it is that you can try every brand of contacts that exists. Keep in mind we don't have every contact lens brand in-house that exists. We have many, but we have the general ones that most people succeed with. So if you want to try them, we'll try them. We'll get the script that matches up to yours, and you try them. We'll teach you how to use them. You don't have to buy a single contact lens until we find ones that work for you. You're not going to pay a dime for them until you know that this is what is going to work for you.
I tell you what, you can't get a better deal than what I usually call that a free deal. Free is good.
Free, that's one of my favorite four-letter words.
Yeah, free is absolutely a good four-letter word that I hear you use often along with those other four-letter words that you use. But it's a guarantee. I mean, we guarantee the contact lens success program here, and then if you've ever wanted to try them, or you've tried them before many years ago and they didn't work, there are many more choices now. I mean, used to you could come in here and you got 30 years ago you got a hard rock looking piece of glass that you stuck in your eye. No. But times have changed. I mean,
they've gotten a lot more comfortable. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you can't even tell they're in there.
Yeah, exactly. You put them in, and literally, it's. I will tell most patients, first time you're going to try them, it's going to feel like something's in your eye.
Sure.
Something's going to be in your eye. But after about an hour, 2 hours at most, if you notice that they're still there, then we probably need to make a change, because they are realistic. There's a brand probably you're not going to notice that are in your eyes anymore.
I know when my prescription's a little different, because I have to come in and get one contact because the other contact in my left eye doesn't work as well.
Well, we could put one in there. It's just, going to be ornamental.
It's going to be ornamental. There'll be no function.
We should get you one of they make theatrical contacts as well. I mean, I can get you anything you want. I can make it look like a wolf eye or even a cue ball. Just pure white, that'd be tricky.
Yeah, that would be pretty neat, wouldn't it? Yeah, I mean, I don't think it really would affect my vision much, but
no.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt it.
I could put a John Wayne patch on that one eye. You could rock a patch. I think you'd look
you
good
think
in
so?
it. I think you'd look rugged.
I like that. I think that's what I'll do. Do you have those here?
And for your wife, I'll get her patch for both eyes so you don't have to look at you.
I
listen, I appreciate the professionalism that you get at Dr.
And this shows it right here. It's all about professionalism right here.
In all fairness, in all fairness, when you walk in the door, you don't get all the fun and jokes, and you get a little bit more professionalism than what we bestow upon you here.
Yes,
but,
yes.
It's always fun to get to visit with you.
Yeah, I like you coming in every now and then.
Just occasionally, just kind of.
I like it often.
Very often, very often. You know, one of my pet peeves is that the word, people that say the word often, that's a pet peeve of mine.
Oh. And I will try not to say that as often.
Are we finished?
We are done.
This is Dr. Gavin McDowell. We're at Customized Vision Care. We're in the Newport Village Mall. If you want to try contacts, we'll try them for you. If we can't get them to work, you owe us absolutely nothing. Get your yearly eye examination. Do a little business with this guy. Our phone number is 870-523-3333, 333333.
Extension 33.
Extension 33. He's Gavin McDowell. I'm not. Until next time, so long, everybody.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the September edition of the Farmer Supply Association Agriculture Report. I'm Randy Kopechka, agronomist with Farmer Supply Association. Well, September is here, and that means harvest season is here. The time of the year we've been waiting for all year long, putting all the work into making the crop and then seeing what you got out there. It certainly hasn't been the start that we had hoped for. You know, the weather's kind of dictated things the last couple of weeks, but things are getting better now. Hurricane Laura decided to make an appearance here on August the 27th and 28th, and with Laura came heavy rains, high straight line winds, and also some spin up tornadoes which caused damage around here. So all those things kind of hurt us. And lo and behold, right after Laura left, we had a cold front come knock on our door, and it decided to stay around. So that cold front, we dealt with it from August the 29th to September 2nd. So all in all, we had 7 straight days with rainfall, and plus we had those high winds associated with Laura, so we've got some issues to deal with. You know, the things that can happen with these kind of weather events, main thing we deal with is rice lodging, and if you look in this field behind me, you can see where this rice is laying flat on the ground, and that's what we call lodging, when it's laying flat on the ground like that. You know, it hasn't been as bad as we thought it was going to be. When we heard about the hurricane coming, we thought we'd have a lot more lodging than we did, but where we've got lodging, it's severe, as you can see in this field behind me. You know, lodging does a lot of things. It slows harvest. You know, you've got to slow down to try to pick up the rice, so you've just got to go slower to start with. There's a lot of harvest loss. You know, the grain just simply won't make it to the combine hopper because a lot of things can happen to it from the time that combine gets to it until that, you know, grain would be in the hopper. So you have a lot of harvest loss. You also have a lot of quality issues. You know, that grain is a lot of times laying on the ground in that wet condition, so things can happen to it. We can have milling issues with it. We can also have several other issues with it. We can have sprouting of that seed, you know, sprout coming out of the grain. So there's a lot of issues that we can have when we have rice lodged like this and laying on wet ground. We also have a lot of soybean issues, and we're not in the soybean field, but I want to touch on soybeans just a little bit. You know, we also had some lodging, and not so much flat lodging with the soybeans, but we have a lot of leaning, you know, where the plants are leaned over, you know, getting close to the ground, and we can have a lot of issues with that. You know, a lot of times those soybeans on the bottom side, they're closer to the ground, don't fill out as well when we have that kind of leaning and lodging, so that can be an issue. And even probably a bigger issue that we've seen in a lot of soybean fields, a lot of our flat fields, our fields that don't drain well, you know, the clay fields and those kind of fields, we're having a lot of issues with oxygen depletion in those fields. You know, we've been 7 days with either water standing or pure mud, and the oxygen, the soybean plant can't get oxygen to the roots because, you know, you've got mud and water there, and it's an anaerobic environment, so you will not have oxygen getting to those roots. So those plants get sick, you'll see them get a light green color, you'll see them turn yellow, and then you'll see them die. So we're seeing a lot of that in low parts of fields. You know, a lot of the yellow beans that are dying, and a lot of times you'll see beans are just a light green and they're really sick too. And a lot of times these beans that are affected like this they'll go ahead and die, they won't fill out that seed, and even if they do live, they won't fill out properly like they ought to. So we'll have a yield loss from our soybeans as well. When you have issues like this, our farmers are looking for a way to maybe overcome some of this. So what they'll do, They'll be looking for things they can do to maybe help make a harvest a little bit easier. And one of the things they'll do is use of harvest aids. We're talking with rice, we're talking about sodium chlorate. With soybeans, we're talking about gramoxone generally. And these will help dry the foliage up on these plants and make harvest maybe a little more efficient, a little quicker and easier. So a lot of things going on with that. So I wanted to touch on the use of harvest aids in both rice and soybeans and what we need to be thinking about there. There's several rules of thumb on rice, and rice is critical because we have quality issues that can occur, we have plant issues, lodging, other things that can occur. So we really got to be careful and do it right with rice. Some of the guidelines include moisture, grain moisture. You want the grain moisture to be no higher than 25 when you put the salt out. And with the hybrids, we want it 23 or less. And the reason the hybrids is a little bit lower is because the hybrid panicle is generally quite a bit longer. So we have a more varying degree of moisture on that panicle. So we've got to let it get a little bit lower to make sure everything's below 25 when we do salt it, so we don't have damage from that. So that's kind of the rule of thumb on the high end of the moisture. On the low end, we want no lower than an 18% moisture in general, especially with the medium grains like Titan. Titan's prone to have milling issues, so you don't want it to get over dried. So on medium grains, don't let that moisture be below 18 when you salt. Sometimes you can play with long grains and fudge just a little bit on that, but certainly not with the medium grains. The next thing is harvest. After you salt it, you want to get out there and get it harvested pretty quickly, no more than 5 days. If you let that plant sit out there more than 5 days after being salted, several things can happen. You can have shattering, grain loss off the head. You can also have the plant get weaker. The stalk gets weaker when it dries up, and you can have lodging. You're more prone to have lodging. And also you can have milling issues because the plant just gets too dry and those grains get too dry. So lodging and shattering and milling issues can all occur if you don't harvest within 5 days. So that's why we want the harvesting done within 5 days. One other thing, if you're putting the salt out and that moisture's kind of borderline low, say under 20 maybe, then you might want to cut that salt rate in half. Normally we go a gallon of a 5-pound sodium chlorate, but you can go that maybe cut back to half a gallon if that moisture is borderline, so you don't again get that over drying, which can be a big issue when you use salt. So salt can be a good thing, but we got to do it right, and we don't want to get over dried. With soybeans, we use gramoxone to help dry up that plant and speed maturity. So the main thing on that is we want separation of that soybean within that pod from that membrane. So there's a white membrane in that pod. You want the seed to be separated from that membrane and from that pod wall. And at that point, you've got all the weight you're going to get in that seed, and you can go ahead and put the gramoxone out. So that's the rule of thumb kind of with the harvest aids on soybeans. Again, not as many critical issues with soybeans as there are with rice. So that's that harvest aid part of it. I'm still getting a few questions about insects and in our soybeans and rice. I wanted to touch on that. We're pretty much past that insect problem time of the year, but there's still a couple of issues I'm seeing out there. Number one, if you've got some late rice stink bugs have been building up in the later rice. Last month's program, you may remember I talked about it was such a low stink bug number year, but I warned everybody that we need to watch this later rice because numbers could build up, and that's what we're seeing. So if you've got some later rice that's still pretty green out there, you still need to be scouting for stink bugs. And if you reach that threshold of 10 stink bugs per 10 sweeps, and the rice is still, not 60% of the head turned straw colored already, then you can still get significant damage. So again, the rule of thumb, you want at least 60% of that panicle to be straw colored and low numbers of stink bugs at that time. If you've got high numbers at that point, you probably want to go ahead and clean them up. But if you have low numbers at that point and 60% of the head being straw colored, you can go ahead and terminate insecticide applications on your rice. So hopefully we're getting close to the end of that period, but there's still some green rice out there. Soybeans, I think the corn earworm run is over. Most people had to spray one time, or a lot of people had to spray one time, but really I think that is over with. We're catching very few moths now, and I think that's probably behind us. One thing you might still need to consider is stink bugs in our soybeans, and we don't have that big of an issue in our north part of our Farmer Supply area, but like in Cherry Valley and some areas down there, we still have some major issues with stink bugs. So at times, if you've got stink bug issues, go ahead and go to grow stage 6.5 when that plant starts turning color and we get that separation from that pod. And if you can get to that point, then you should be all right with your stink bug issues. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Again, the weather has gotten a lot better over the last 5 or 6 days for harvest, and hopefully we can get several more weeks of that. If we do, hopefully we can get this crop out of the field and be ready for winter time. So got any questions on any of this, you can contact me at Farmer Supply Association, and this has been Randy Kopechka with your September report.
I want to introduce to you Chauncey Young at Unity Health Harris Medical Center in Newport, Arkansas. And what a great pleasure it is to get to see you, sir. And welcome to Unity Health and welcome to Newport, Arkansas.
Thank you, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about Chauncey Young. Tell us a little bit about growing up and how a man arrives on the city of Newport, Arkansas.
Well, I was raised in Chicago. I moved to Texas, Texarkana, Texas. In my teen years, right there at graduation. And I lived in Texas, I don't know, maybe 13 years or so. And then I moved to Memphis, all relating to jobs and things like that. And about 9 years ago, I moved back from Memphis, well, a little bit less than that. I moved back from Memphis to Texarkana.
Okay.
And of course, all job related. And then here to Newport.
Well, tell me a little bit about you and what you do here, job-wise. What's your job responsibilities, job title, and what all? Understanding you're heavy loaded, as I say.
Yeah, so to speak. Yeah. So I work at a department that's called Physician Practice Management.
Okay.
Which kind of explains what I do. I'm basically providing additional administrative support on the ground for the physicians, making sure that the physicians have what they need, and that I help them to develop out programs and things like that, that I help them with population health management and organizational type things. But basically, because we're, most of our administration is in Searcy. Mm-hmm. And so this provides for these guys administration on the ground.
Okay.
So that's basically what I do.
All right, and we talk about being in charge of the clinic, and the clinic is more than what it has been. We're adding some new stuff. Kind of share with us what we have there.
Yeah, so in addition to family practice, podiatry, surgery, all those things, we're adding an infusion clinic. So we have a rheumatologist that's coming in. His name is Dr. Singh.
Okay.
He'll be coming in. Hopefully, he'll be starting October the 1st. We'll go live October the 1st, and so we actually have patients scheduled for October the 2nd, I believe. And so we're working out the details and logistics of what that's going to look like here on campus and where patients can find him. But right now, he's pegged to be here by October the 1st.
Okay, I've got to ask you this. Tell me about training and how you got involved in the medical field. It's always interesting to me to find people that put their heart and soul into everything that they do, and I know that you do that. Tell me how you got into the medical field.
Oh, wow. So it was totally by accident, right? It was not purposeful. When I was living in Tennessee, actually, I moved to Tennessee. I was in ministry at that time, and so I moved to Tennessee. I needed to work. I don't know if people understand that, but I was in ministry, but I needed to work too. I needed to make money. And so I ended up staying with one of my partners who, his wife worked at what they call the Charter Systems. Charter Systems was a big behavioral health system back in the day. And she offered me to work there, right? And so I just took a stab at it. It was mental health psych, right? Psych tech. And so I was like, a mental health psych tech? Like pastoring and psych. I guess I could. Right, yeah, I guess I could do this, right? So I took it on. I took the challenge on, and it turned out great. I happened to be good at it, and so I decided to focus my energies there. To go ahead and get certified and things like that in that field, and it just worked out. I was a natural at it. Well, I grew in that until I moved up in the company into the administrative role. And from there, I transferred to Texas, back to Texas, while my family was there. And so when I moved back to Texas, I had an opportunity to work for a company that was similar to Charter. It wasn't the Charter Systems, because the Charter Systems, of course, with Baker, sold out, whatever. And so I ended up working for this company, and they gave me an opportunity to do what I do best. I was behavioral health.
There you go.
I was really good with children. And so they gave me what they called a residential hall, and I could do whatever I wanted to do with that, right?
You were the boss.
I was the boss. I loved it. I took on that, and then I ended up back in administration there, and then director over admissions, which was a pretty heavy task. And from there, I just kept growing in that field. And right before I moved here, or several years before I moved here, I got into what they called FQHCs. That's a federally qualified health center, multidisciplinary practice. And there, I began to learn the medical side.
Right.
And I loved it. And then I was trained in population health management. And so I became what they call an expert. I got certified as an expert in population health management. And that was my ticket. From that point, I was in the admin in the medical side of the behavior. Yes.
I got to ask you this before we get off here,
Sure.
and tell me about your move to Newport, Arkansas, Unity Health Harris Medical Center here. How did that come about, and how have you liked it since you've been here?
Oh wow! So opportunities. There was a 3-layered opportunity to come into Unity Health. One is I got a chance to work for a company with mission and values similar to my own.
Awesome.
I was welcomed by a team. I was impressed in the interview because they welcomed me to the town, not to the job.
Yes.
So they offered me an opportunity to be a part of the community and the things they were doing. So that was the first tier of that. The second tier was the job that they wanted me to do. I had experience in that. And so the opportunities I saw here was just, without a ceiling. So I was like, yeah, I can definitely do that. The third and most precious one to me is my mother. I lost my father a couple of years ago, and my mother was married to my father for 40 years.
Wow.
And so she lives in Memphis. And I've had very little access to her since my father passed. So I wanted to get closer to her. Memphis put me about 70 and 90 miles away from her. So
that's awesome. That is awesome. Well, welcome to Newport, Arkansas.
Thank you.
Welcome to Unity Health Harris Medical Center. I know you'll do a fantastic job. I wish you great success in your new endeavor here with us, as we say.
Thank you.
Welcome to our city.
Thank you.
Chauncey, my pleasure. Michael's Place, Pecan Street, St. Michael's Place comes to us. Jay Cox, Lana Holman joins us, and we are excited, Jay, to have y'all back in the studio, and y'all get to get out a little bit and run around. Here. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming. Jay, tell us a little bit about what's going on at St. Michael's, and then we'll talk to Lana a little bit about what all she does and what she brings to the table at St. Michael's Place.
It's good to be here today. It's a nice day outside, and we are just excited about things going on at St. Michael's, and like everybody else, we're still fighting a pandemic, trying to stay healthy and stay secure and safe, and our facility is still doing real well and still do not have any cases in our facility, and
awesome.
And so we're still following guidelines set forth by the CDC in the state of Arkansas, still social distancing and wearing masks, hand sanitizer, all the good stuff, trying to stay positive and keep our residents positive and all that. And one good thing that's happened to us before I introduce Lana is that we had some iPads shipped to us, a whole crate full. I wasn't expecting it, They brought in a big box to my office, and I was like, what is this, and opened it up, and it was 8 iPads. And so those are for communication for our residents to be able to FaceTime or Zoom or Skype, the latest technology. And so those came to us, and so we're excited about that. Our residents will will have more ability to communicate with their family. So that's always exciting, you know, especially getting new toys to play with.
You bet they are.
So that's
You
always
bet.
good. But today we want to introduce to you our Assistant Director of Nursing. We call her our ADON, and it's commonly known. And her name is Lana Holman, and she's with us, been with us for a little while, since 2019, and so she's an RN, and so we're glad to have her on staff with us at St. Michael's.
Well, Lana, welcome, and
Thank
tell
you.
us a little bit about Lana Holman. Tell us about where you grew up, where you graduated from high school from, and tell us a little bit about your family and where you live now.
Okay, I'm Lana Holman. I'm ADON, like they said, and I grew up in Batesville, graduated from Batesville High School in 2010. Go Pioneers!
Go Pioneers!
Then I proceeded with UACCB. Wasn't real sure what I wanted to do at first. Took me a little bit, but decided to go to nursing school. Graduated from the RN program in 2017. Then I started out at Harris Hospital, worked on the floor there for a little bit, got some experience. Switched and went to work for White River, working at a pulmonology clinic.
Okay.
Which I really enjoyed, actually. Then I came to St. Michael's in 2019, last year. Started working there, working on the floor. I really love it there. I love taking care of the residents. They're more like your family. You see the same people every day. You get to know them. You know their family. I really enjoy it. I'm also married. We have 3 children. We have 2 girls and a boy. Our girls are 3 and 6, and our son's 9.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
We chase them with gymnastics and baseball and rodeos. My husband rodeos. So I don't have any hobbies of my own. I'm just like a fangirl.
You're the fan of the family. Fan of the family. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, you're at St. Michael's, been there, you know, like we said, since 2019, ADON, and moving up from the floor to a management position. What exactly do you do? What exactly does an ADON do? What are some of the job responsibilities that you have? And I mean, it's an important position, no doubt.
Right. Well, first off, I manage the CNAs. You can't run a nursing home. You can't take care of residents without your CNAs. I have a nurse CNAs, and so I manage them, make sure that we're fully staffed to take care of them properly and the best that we can. Work with the DON, reviewing labs, making sure everybody's getting the medications that they need, getting the physician's appointments the way that they need to, getting all the care that they need. And also, I enjoy that I'm not on the floor now, so I have more time to kind of move around throughout the halls and spend time with residents, where when I worked on the floor, I was just kind of like only got to take care of my group. So I have more time to kind of get out there and see them and talk to them, make sure that they're doing okay. During this pandemic, it's been super difficult on the residents.
Yes.
Not allowing family and visitors in has been super hard. So it's important for us to get out there and spend time with them and be their family when they can't be with their family at this time.
You make a great point about the difficulty of that. Not only difficult on the residents and their families, but difficult on you guys as well, as you mentioned.
Right.
I mean, how does that affect you? I mean, on a day-to-day basis, it's different, isn't it?
It's different. You got to wear a mask all the time, wash your hands, which we do anyways. But just making sure you protect them. They're depending on us to keep them safe and to keep ourselves safe. We don't want to take anything home to our family, so we have that concern. Got to be super careful about who you're around and staying healthy, not bringing anything home, but not taking anything to the residents either.
Jay mentions the iPads. What an awesome I mean, you know, when you have some technology to use to actually communicate to, quote, the outside world,
right.
And it has become the outside world now,
sure,
because of the pandemic, and very, very important to have these, Jay.
Yes, you know, and you never would have thought even a year and a half ago, or not even that long ago, that we would come to something like that. And you know, it's easier for us to be able to still go home to our families and you know, go home at night and sleep in our own home, see our family, even our extended families. But you know, I have to keep each day in the back of my mind that even though these residents are positive and trying to you know, stay encouraged the best they can, that still they are not able to see their loved ones. Even the loved ones that come to the front window and visit through the phone or even through the technology, they're still missing one thing. They're missing that embrace.
Absolutely.
They're missing, the holding of the hand and the hugs and the, that affection of the closeness. They're not able to touch their grandchildren and hug their grandchildren and those things, as good a care as we can give, and with all the right medications and with all the right labs and testings and everything that nursing does, and we have an excellent staff. That one element of the quality of life, all the technology in the world can't replace that. And so we have to do every little thing we can to make sure their quality of life is as good as it can be, and that's part of the technology. But in the back of my mind each day, I have to remember that I still get to go home at night. I still get to drive home every day, come back in, clock in and out. They are still lacking the one thing that all of us, as a staff, get to continue to have. They don't get to keep that, and that makes your job, that makes your job different.
Well, and Lana mentioned about you become family to these people because they actually don't have family.
Sure.
And it's just it's a difficult situation, but the whole world is in a difficult situation, and we go up and beyond the call of duty at St. Michael's
Sure.
Place, and we always have.
Sure.
And if you need the information on St. Michael's Place, and Jay, I guess they could call, they could
Yes.
come by, they could visit with us, and I guess we can't take a tour of the building because we can't get in anymore, but
Right.
at least we could call on the phone and visit. And people need short-term care, long-term care on a day-to-day basis. I mean,
Yes.
it's happening where people change, and you guys do a super job. Y'all do a super job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any final thoughts before we go?
Well, we're still here, and we'd love to visit with you. We'd love to help you plan for that long-term patient, short-term patient. We're still here, not going anywhere. We have local folks. We have folks that drive in. We have, Lana's joined us, even though she's a pioneer.
And that's okay.
She's still hometown.
That's exactly
Even
right.
though she's a pioneer, we'll
Yes.
give her a pardon there. But
Spend most of my time here now.
yes, but she's still hometown. But we, Newport, they know that we're still hometown. We're still here. We're strong. We're not going anywhere, and they know that if they need us, they can call us, and we'll be right there. And Lana, do you have anything else?
No, thank you. You've covered it very well.
All right.
Lana, we appreciate you joining us. I mean,
you.
an awesome responsibility that you have dealing with, folks who need your help, and not only dealing with the residents, but, in the management position, it gives you an opportunity to work with others, that are doing the same thing that you are. But
Right.
you guys keep up the good work, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Okay, St. Michael's Place, we're at Pecan Street, we're in Newport, Arkansas. If you need our help, you know how to contact us.
Yes.
Bank in Newport brings you the Greyhound Report each and every month here on Cable 15 TV, Facebook, YouTube, and around the world. Miss Terry Kane, the principal of Newport High School, joins us for the Greyhound Report. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're interviewing in Coach Benny Reynolds' office. Thus, all the nice, he says, talent is God-given. Be humble. Fame is man-given. Be grateful. I love that saying. Benny is a great motivator, a tremendous coach, and a big plus for our program. And we want to talk today. We didn't come to talk about Benny, but I just thought I'd throw him in that plug.
Absolutely.
Miss Kane, we're off to a roaring start and a good start at Newport High School. Let's talk about some of the things we've had to change, and let's talk about the good start that we've had.
Absolutely. We have been off to a good start. We've been very fortunate. Mr. Bunch coming in, he's been very proactive in the things coming down the pipe to make sure that we were prepared for whatever it is that folks were going to throw at us. We spent a lot of time this summer as a team deciding what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, being extra cautious, even though some of the mandates don't require maybe us to be as cautious as we are being. We're taking that step because we think it's important to try to keep our kids in school as long as we possibly can. We believe in the face-to-face simply because it just helps our kids. And it helps our teachers because what we're finding with the virtual and the in-person is they're a little bit overwhelmed. And so to try to ease some of the pressure off of them and our kids and our families, we think we've put together a pretty good plan. Some of the changes that we've had to make is, distance in the classroom and students wearing masks. And we have had very little pushback from parents and kids wearing their masks. They seem to do so with an understanding as to why they're doing it. Because a lot of times when we get pushback from individuals, kid, adult, otherwise, it's because they don't understand why we're doing what we're doing.
Right.
And so we've tried to make the why very clear, and I think we've done a good job in doing that. So we get very little pushback from kids, and we have a few rogue ones out there, but that's just, that's par for the course. But we're doing temperature checks first, third, and fifth period every day. We record those in a Google Doc that goes to individuals that need those, and so those are monitored. Doing that helps us see trends in a kid. And so if we get Johnny in who may be running maybe a 100-degree temp, and we look back at the trend and he's always ran a 99, 8 or whatever, then that may be kind of par for the course for him. And so it helps us make better decisions before we just automatically start sending kids home for whatever reason. So we've had to change a lot. As you know, in the summer, the board had granted us permission to upgrade a lot of the technology in the system that we're using, and that was solely for us to be able to pivot and go virtual if needed. And we have probably, in my school, we have probably 50 kids who are virtual. And so they log in every day with their teachers and participate in class, and hopefully we can get them back face to face pretty soon. But it's been a really smooth start. It's almost scary, They say if it's too good, that some, so it's a little bit scary, but it's been a smooth start. It's been, I tell you what, I have to give all the credit to the teachers because they've made it look flawless.
Right.
And I know it hasn't been because I'm behind the scenes a little bit, but they have jumped in with both feet. They have, done all the PD they needed to for the technology upgrades and the new TVs that we've got in the rooms, and learned how to use those. And they've just made the transition look so easy that I've gotten calls from several schools. Well, how's Newport doing this? How's Newport doing that? I also get a lot of calls on why is Newport doing that, because we're not, and we're getting a little pushback because Newport's doing it. And the answer is always the same. It's for the betterment of our kids, to keep them in school, to keep them playing sports, because that's what's going to keep them grounded. And so it's been good.
Having visited with Mr. Bunch, prior to, and talked with him throughout the summer, and knew a lot of these things were coming, and the question was always going to be, number one, are the teachers going to accept, with a loving, giving heart to make a change? And then will the kids, and we've met and exceeded expectations at Newport High School. And as you say, people are calling us, asking us the way they do at NEDC in downtown Newport, how do you do your economic development? Calling us, saying, how's it working so well at Newport High School? And what a plus for us.
Yes.
Here's something that I wanted to ask you about. The changes that actually have been made are not astronomically difficult when you just talk about, and I want you to talk about this a little bit, in the classroom. We're going to spread the desk out a little bit. So, that's an easy thing to do, a simple thing to do, but it's a different thing to do. Talk about the difference in the things and those little differences that really don't, they all add up to a big difference, but they're really small differences.
Well, when you look at, if you take a traditional size classroom with, our state minimum for grades 7, 12 is a 30-person classroom, 30 kids. You look at spreading out 30 desks, even at 3 feet, it's like, okay, my classrooms aren't quite big enough. And so it creates challenges in being able to serve the number of kids that we are state mandated to be able to serve.
Right.
And not a lot of schools have the resources to be able to go out and hire, several more teachers to be able to accommodate a classroom of, say, 20 instead of 30. And so I think initially when the regulations started coming down the pipe with Arkansas Department of Health and the ADE, it was, we were going to 6 feet by 6 feet by 6 feet. And when you talk about taking even some of our biggest rooms, 6 feet by 6 feet by 6 feet, you're only looking at about 9 kids in the classroom.
Right.
And so we're like, there's absolutely no way I can educate one kid in a classroom one day a week over the course of that, much less. And so I think they started seeing that like you said, some of those small changes that we're asking them to do really creates bigger issues in another area.
Right.
Taking temperatures. We do that first, third, and fifth period. It's real easy. We chose the infrared thermometers because it keeps our teachers from having to touch the children, vice versa, and so it keeps us from having to constantly wipe before we monitor the next child. And so I think there's been some questions as to why we went with those, and that is the reason why. But even as quick as those can give you a temperature on a kid, with a classroom of 20 kids, you're looking at a good 5 minutes or so down on top of all the other responsibilities a teacher has. And so the teachers spent a lot of time this summer looking at their standards going, okay, with all the other things that I'm going to have to do this year, what is the absolute most essential thing my kids need to be able to do and learn to be successful at the next level? And so they spent a lot of time this summer reviewing standards and saying, okay, this is important, but we can push this aside, or this is absolutely fundamental. We can, so they were able to get down. And so, really what it comes down to is a loss of academic time.
Sure.
And so we had to accommodate for that loss of academic time for the other things that we're mandated to do by saying, okay, these are important and these are not. And so they have accepted that really well, and we've been fortunate.
Well, we have been fortunate, and I always talk, you talk about leadership, and you talk about the Newport School Board, you talk from Mr. Bunch to Ms. Kane to your staff and your crew and all those teachers that are involved, and then you got to have great students that are willing to accept the change. And I think, again, we're off to a roaring start here in Newport, and in the eyes of a pandemic, which we didn't know that we'd even get to go to school, and
right.
and who knows what will be next. But I do know this: we're doing great things at Newport High School.
Yes, we are.
We thank Terry Kane for joining us on the First Community Bank Greyhound Report. It's always good to come over and talk about the great things that are going on in this school district and this community. And I appreciate you
Absolutely.
so much.
Thank you.
Celeste joins us from White River Health System in Batesville, and she is the Marketing and Foundation Supervisor of WRHS. And welcome to the program. Skype interview is kind of neat. It took us a little while to learn how to do it, but how's Annie Celeste doing?
Oh, we're doing great over here.
Good deal, good deal. We worked about 30 minutes to get this thing done, and I thought, I could drive to Batesville, I could walk in the door, we could do the interview, and I could have it done by the time I get all this work out. But I love the technology, and now that you and I are both in the system, we'll be able to do it a lot easier next time. But you've got some information to give us folks here in Newport, Jackson County, and kind of this surrounding area about White River Health System, and kind of tell us what's going on. We're kind of been in the dark here a little bit, but let us know what's going on, Annie, please.
Okay, so kind of like you have, we've had to make adjustments here too. The need for healthcare doesn't stop just because COVID-19 is present. There are still many conditions that need to be diagnosed and treatment that needs to take place. These are for conditions both related and unrelated to COVID-19. So, and then on top of that, you've got your routine healthcare, such as your wellness checks, screenings, physicals. All these things are still very important. And then White River Health System consists of 2 hospitals, and then we have many clinics and facilities, outpatient facilities in multiple counties. So each one has stepped up to ensure that patients can still get the care they need safely during this pandemic. So I just wanted to get on here and talk about the Jackson County area, how our clinics there, some of the changes in our clinics there. Okay. I just want to say first that Doctors Randall Hunt and Nicole Lawson are seeing patients at the Newport Diagnostic Medical Clinic. It is open Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 5:30, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. They have done a great job of putting precautions in place to ensure a safe environment and keep patients protected from COVID-19 so they can go in and continue to get anything they need. And if they, have an illness or an injury or just need a checkup, they've done a great job in ensuring that patients can safely do that still. So you can call, patients can still call 870-512-2500 to make an appointment.
Okay.
And the staff will give instructions on what needs to be done once you get there. We are still doing virtual appointments through WaveLink. So if anyone is still uncomfortable going into a facility, we have that option available. That is wavelink.whiteriverhealthsystem.com. And as far as changes, starting August 10th, Marlo Hargrave, APRN, who was at the Tuckerman Clinic, will be at the Newport Diagnostic Medical Clinic.
Okay.
So she will be a provider. And the Tuckerman Medical Clinic will close July 30th.
Okay.
So just a short 10-minute drive. She'll still be in the area, and she'll still be seeing, taking her patients. Her patients don't have to do anything. Their records will go with her. They'll just have to, change where they go.
Okay.
And then the Newport Weekend Clinic is closed just for the summer. They will be open on the Friday and Saturday and Sunday beginning the weekend of September 4th.
Okay. Awesome.
I just want to say that the WRMC Pain Management Clinic, they are still seeing patients at the WRMC Medical Complex in Newport.
Okay.
And there's White River Health System has a number of services available. They can be found on whiteriverhealthsystem.com. And so I just want everyone to know that we're still taking appointments. We're still making appointments, and we're still seeing patients. So
Well, we're very visible in Newport and Jackson County, and thus when we make changes like that, we want everybody to be aware of that. I think the most important thing that we take out all of it, Annie, is that we need to see our doctors. When you need to see the doctor or you need to go to the emergency room, you need to do that. I think we've kind of gotten that attitude of, I can't go because I'm not sick enough to go, but you need to continue to go with your routine appointments that you have and see your doctor if you don't feel well.
Right. We definitely encourage people to do that because, we don't want people to put off going to the doctor and then their condition worsen later on down the road for, something that could have been treated early on. So
yeah, well, I appreciate you so much for taking time to join us and to give us the updates on White River Health System right here in Newport and mentioning the complex, the WRMC Medical Complex in Newport. Annie Solis, anything else we need to visit today on our Skype interview that took us so long to get to that we might not want to, we don't want to miss anything here on this one.
Well, I just want to, if people can follow us on Facebook, White River Health System, for all the latest updates and information about our facilities, and then whiteriverhealthsystem.com.
All right, that sounds great. Annie, again, I appreciate you taking time to join us and giving us an update on White River Health System. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Until next time, for the White River Health System, Annie Solis, who is the Marketing and Foundation Supervisor. That sounds like a good job to me. Thanks, Annie.
Thank you.